Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sleeper Hold, where there are no disqualifications on the topics and falls count anywhere. Joining us, as always, it's Priest.
How's it going?
And to my left, Zombie. And of course, I am the analyst, Robert Leach. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sleeper Hold. It's been a very, I guess you could say, busy week in WWE. Busy couple of weeks, actually.
Side note, real quick, before you keep going. We have audio, we don't have video.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I'm seeing video right here.
Oh, must be weird on my part. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, I got video right here.
Hey, there we go. Mazel tov. We have video.
Mazel tov.
All right, go on.
Anyway,
he's got command of the show, but I'm pretty much running it from.
You're playing Kluge today.
Yes, I'm playing Kluge, but I still do not condone the use of Apple cards, regardless. So, just want to put that out there.
So basically, we started off as always with Raw this week.
Yeah.
And started off with a little bit of an announcement.
Kind of a announcement that if you hadn't been hearing it from other people prior to them, is very unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't watching Raw live. I had something going on that night. But I looked at my phone, went into one of my group chats, and it says something about, I know Roman can bite this thing, or can beat this thing. My grandpa had this thing, yada yada. Basically, if you haven't heard by now, Roman Reigns announced he has leukemia and has to take some time off and relinquish the Universal title.
But he also made sure to emphasize that it was not in any way something that was going to stop him.
Well, I think that's the important thing for us to realize here is this isn't his first battle with leukemia. He had this back with his football career, and that made him stop his football career, and then he ended up having a chance at the WWE, and that's what he became here now. So it's one of those things where leukemia came back. Unfortunately, that is one of the nasty parts about cancer, is it can come back.
Oh, yeah.
But he's got the right mentality. If anything, that's one thing we can't say about this man, is that he has the right mentality of, I'm going to take this thing down. And he's not only saying because he's trying to keep the fans motivated, but he said the best things in my opinion. I want to be the best role model, the best inspiration for my wife and my children, so they're going to see me take this thing out.
And as we've seen, with stuff like this being announced, different conditions, different problems, people that are in his shape, they tend to, beat it. I mean, it's more possible for him to beat it and be successful with that. I mean, hell, we had Brian Ely here last week.
Yeah. I
mean, he had a heart attack, of all things, if you didn't remember seeing that from the Brian Ely show last week. Basically, he had a heart attack, and it was basically what they refer to as a widowmaker.
Yeah.
And he survived it. And he's actually still back in the ring. So, I mean, if anything, that right there tells you stuff like this can be beaten, and people in those types of conditions being well built like they are. I mean, Roman Reigns is in great shape.
Well, and that's the other thing is you got to realize, I've learned this from having friends and family who faced cancer and other very bad medical conditions. The battle is probably about 50-50, at least in my opinion it is. It's 50% physical, but the other half is the mentality. You've got to have that mentality that say, I'm going to beat this thing, I'm not going to let it drag me down, because the second you start to give up, your brain controls a lot about your body. The second your brain decides it wants to start giving up, your body's going to follow it. And so with Roman having that mentality, it makes me very happy to see it, because not only is that a good thing for him, but one thing that I really liked was the second he walked out, you could tell something was going on because he was in street clothes. But it kind of cracked me up in my own way, because it was like all these fans were doing their normal thing, some cheers, some boo, and everything else. And even when he was talking, they were still doing it. But the second he dropped that word leukemia, dead silence. They were like, this isn't script.
Yeah.
This is legit. And you get to see them actually show their true respect for what he does and what he brings to the ring. And I really had to smile and laugh about it. It's like, this is what we truly have here. Yeah. You may boo these people, you may cheer for them and everything else, because that's part of the entertainment.
But the moment that something like that affects their real life,
you are supported.
you can still be a supporting person.
Well, that's just it. Is that you know that they're what they do there. You know the business they do. They do it for entertainment. So you still respect and support them, especially when it's something this serious.
Yeah.
And so it makes me really happy to see that with the WWE universe, because I know they've had other times where they've done stuff before that made me so disgusted with them. But this in itself, I'm very happy that they were very supportive in the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's you see them every week, like you said. They boo Roman Reigns. Most of the crowd reaction is heat for Roman Reigns, just straight heat. But the second he dropped that word, they were like, "Wow, he's not playing around." I may not like him as a wrestler. I may not like his promo skills or his in-ring skills.
Yeah.
But damn, he's still a person.
Yeah. And I mean, so they already started cheering him, thanking him, and everything else. And I love that. I mean, this was one of those times where I know we had sometime, I think it was earlier this year or it was late last year, where I said on our show, shame on you to the WWE Universe, because they were making fun or mocking something that to me was like, this is not okay. I can't remember what it was, not to go back in the episode, but I remember sitting there saying, I feel shame towards the WWE Universe. Oh, I think
I remember that.
I think it was like a national, it's like another country's national anthem, and they were booing through it or something like that.
Yeah.
And that made me so mad.
It was from the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But it was one of those things that's like, oh, no, I think it was Rusev's national anthem.
Yeah.
And I got mad about that, that's right. But I mean, then seeing this, it's like, okay, this is what we need. Because this is good, this is beautiful. And, I think,
as much as painful as this is to, have to let go of somebody that some of us do look up to, I mean, and we only hope for the best. Hell, I mean, I even seen, like, just Instagram was flooded.
Oh, yeah,
with,
Instagram, Twitter, all of it.
I mean, Jim Ross was one of them that was, JR was just all over.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing is, I think one person who said it best during Monday night was Corey Graves when he said, "You got this." And I truly do believe that. He's got this.
And to have him do that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's Corey Graves' character, Corey Graves' person. I mean, the
Very,
real man,
yeah.
like, is a decent person.
I mean, it was just cool to see for me all of the superstars, all of the universe, and even all of the commentators break out of their shell that they're supposed to be kept inside of and be like, wow, this is real, and this is actually someone we all look up to and we all consider a brother.
Well, to go with that, like,
I was going to say, did you see the look on Ambrose's face and Rollins' face when they...
Rollins,
they were about to break down.
Rollins, you could see, was starting to break down.
Yeah,
Ambrose looked like he was trying to hold it back.
You could tell
they were struggling.
I could see it in both of their eyes. They were just like...
And even on top of that, I mean, one thing that I loved was when Paul Heyman did his speech and then Strowman came out. Strowman's like, he gave credit to Roman, everything else, and said, and when he gets back after I get the title, he's the first one in line. It's like, that's respect right there. That is nothing but 100% respect.
These two
and
men
I love
have
that.
butted heads for so long as far as the characters go.
Yeah.
But Strowman is, if anybody, I expected him to say something like that.
But I love it because he still stayed in character, but he gave that respect while being in character. I love that.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it was definitely the way people least expected Raw to start out.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, totally.
But then we're talking about Strowman. Let's move into the whole McIntyre situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not only when Paul Heyman was out there did we see Strowman come out and say, listen, I'm taking the title, Roman's going to get his shot. Strowman was down there talking and ate a Claymore.
He did.
For McIntyre out of
beautiful
nowhere.
Claymore kick. Yeah.
Again, like,
yes.
I unfortunately missed part of this, but I caught at least the bit with Reigns. But
it was a beautiful, strong Claymore kick too. So
he was just talking right to Paul Heyman, went to turn, and just boom, right there.
Did we find Strowman's kryptonite, essentially? It seems like. I mean, he's ate 3 of them now, as far as I remember.
That's where I'm getting to, you see. We'll also get to this part a little later. But when
now I'm the one
in the tag title match, we saw it was Ambrose and Rollins versus McIntyre and Ziggler. Referee got knocked out. Strowman ran down to the ring and started beating the hell out of McIntyre. They fought all the way backstage, through the crowd and backstage.
Yeah, I mean, this is building up. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
It's just something that I think it's going to be one of those feuds, and I think Strowman's going to win the Universal title.
I hope so. I'll be honest.
And then I think that's going to go into
will.
Strowman versus McIntyre.
That's what I want. Of all things, that's what I want. I want Strowman to get the title because he deserves it. But I think that would be one epic battle right there for the title. Strowman and McIntyre. And let it be something where it gets drawn out. Make the first time be a double count or something like that, where it's a draw. Then something else. And then give it some big match like a last man standing or whatever. Because these are two guys who are at the peak of their career right now.
Totally.
They are besides your basic front runners like Roman Reigns and all that, these two are really your two main headlines of Raw. People, when they talk about Raw, they talk about Strowman, they talk about McIntyre.
I mean, hell, even with Lesnar and Strowman supposed to be, headlining, Crown Jewel. I mean, that's something else. I mean,
yeah.
See, that I like your idea there, where it starts as a double count out, then goes just one-on-one, normal competition, maybe have a winner, maybe disqualification, something like that.
Ziggler shows up and
that's like Survivor Series is the first match.
Oh, and Survivor Series would be perfect.
Then you go to December for the second match. Then Royal Rumble, you've got that big match.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be good. That would be good.
WrestleMania headlining.
I mean, there's potential for it. I mean, there is. I mean, that's going to be really good.
Even better would be having, like, if the title is going to remain, or if, like, it goes back and forth. Like, Strowman gets it at Crown Jewel, McIntyre takes it from him. McIntyre then is supposed to defend it. Strowman gets it back. It goes back and forth.
That'd be interesting.
Up until, like, WrestleMania, and then you see Roman Reigns sitting front row.
That would be cool. I would be okay with that. That'd be kind of cool.
And then just to see him there, and then the contact, just
no
words
strict
spoken,
eye contact.
just that, like, Strowman's watching him, Reigns is watching Strowman, and Reigns is watching McIntyre. Just like, which one of you
am I going to
come after?
That would be cool. I would be okay with that.
No,
that would be a great moment.
I think an interesting thing would be if now that Shield has the tag titles, if Strowman, not more of like a temporary, or not even like maybe once, the two of them are out there and they get booted up for the Cerberus, and next thing you hear is Strowman come out, and Strowman comes out, instead of being the victim of it, he actually
helps deliver it.
Bring it on, and he's the one that just.
You never know. I mean, Strowman's been able to play both sides of the fence perfectly. He's been able to be a face, and people love him. Mm-hmm. Especially with his sense of humor, he's been able to be a great heel.
Totally.
He's one of those few guys that can really make it work perfectly, no matter which side of the fence he's on.
You can walk through it.
There's no doubt about that. But speaking of walking.
Hey, Eric, by the way.
What's up, Eric? Speaking of walking, who was walking with Elias on Monday when he took that guitar and smashed it right across the back of acting general manager Baron Corbin?
Acting general manager and former TGI Fridays employee.
It's one of those things. I've never been a huge Elias fan. I'll always say that. I mean, the guy can wrestle. I will give him credit. He can wrestle.
Yeah.
But his gimmick, I've never been a fan of. But to see him crack and shatter that guitar over the back of Baron Corbin, I could not help but grin. I was like, that's perfect.
I feel like they were almost trying to, especially more and more, I feel like they're trying to revive an old Jeff Jarrett.
It's possible, but I think they're trying to also just find more ways to solidify a route for him to become a face. Because I know they still have some of us who just aren't willing to let him go that direction because we just don't like his gimmick.
We just hit the mute button whenever he tries to sing.
I don't. Good Lord. Did you hear that guitar solo on Monday? Oh, my Lord.
I mean, he's a good guitarist. I'll give him that. But as long as he keeps his mouth shut, he needs to go that route.
Okay. He's okay. I mean, I'd like to see maybe in the future one of them get drafted over to the other side and Elias and Aiden English start.
That would be a team right there. That would be the perfect team.
Aiden can sing.
Oh yeah, Aiden's got the lungs.
He's definitely got the singing capability for
Oh
sure.
yes.
I mean, that was one of the greater moments of Raw. It definitely was, because I think Corbin needed a reminder. Hey, you're still vulnerable. You're not all that.
Well, see, and here's the thing I think is great is that it's pulled the tension away from Balor, because now they're trying to make Balor deal with Lashley, which that's a joke in itself, in my opinion, because it's Lashley. I don't care about Lashley or his,
Lashley might as well
his
be,
hype man, whatever.
Lashley might as well be a overpaid jobber right now.
Honestly,
Even if he is pulling off some victories,
if you need a hype man and it's not somebody as talented as Paul Heyman, you're doing it wrong. First of all, so I'm really done with Lashley. The fact that they've got that attention now away from Corbin Balor, it's nice to see that now it looks like they're making attention on Corbin and Elias. And I have a feeling this may possibly transition into Crown Jewel.
I don't know. Lashley kind of sort of reminds me of, when he's not talking, he reminds me of Goldberg in his latter part of his career.
Possible.
And then when he starts talking, reminds me of Goldberg again whenever he tried to start,
Talk about
utilizing the mic. I mean, he's, I give him the credit where credit is due. I mean, he is a good performer. He is capable. He's built well enough for it. But it's kind of like Samoa Joe. Every time he got a hold of the mic, it was like, oh, come on, shut up, please. Like,
well, see, Samoa's gotten better, though.
But he's gotten better. I give him that. He's gotten better, and his performance in the ring has also improved.
The thing is, though, they decided instead of making sure that Lashley gets better, they just hired him an annoying hype man who doesn't know when to shut up. And I'm sorry, but every time you get done making a sentence, you gotta go, ha ha.
No.
Okay, dude.
You see, Bobby Lashley, first of all, reminds me, especially when he gets mad or tries to look powerful, he really reminds me of an angry 4-year-old.
Yes! Yes!
Like, you can just see it in his face.
I've seen
like,
an angry 2-year-old recently, so
you stole my cereal, and I'm not happy about it. Like, that's about the extent his facial expression goes to. And then,
I don't know why the hell you're looking at me when you're saying that.
I'm
Did
just
you steal his cereal?
I mean, if you take my food, then I'd go right to the 4-year-old for sure.
Right?
but no, so then if you're going to have a manager, don't give them a microphone unless they're going to cut a promo.
Or unless they're Paul Heyman.
Yeah, unless they can cut a damn good promo.
Because I'm about tired, even though it's only been like 2 weeks now, I'm about tired of seeing this little short-ass, bald-headed kid running around talking throughout every match on the microphone. Like, you can't even get commentary in.
No.
Because he's talking the whole time.
That sounds like someone else that we know that operates a camera.
Well, here's the thing. Like you said, unless you know how to cut a good promo, especially if you're a manager, don't grab the mic. And if you want to learn how to cut a good promo and be a manager, I've got 3 people that you can learn from.
Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman. Like that.
Well, Paul Heyman is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
If you want to go more enigmatic or creep factor, Paul Bear. And if you really want to do a damn good promo like Paul Heyman, but older generations, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh, totally.
If you're going to learn how to do a promo, you better learn from those 3 men and their video packages.
If anything, Lashley needs a different direction.
He does.
He needs a different. If anything, he needs a gimmick because he's not really anything.
He doesn't have one. No.
I mean, he's just.
I'm a powerhouse. That's it.
It works for some people. It works for more people. It works for some people when they keep their mouths shut. I mean, you're supposed to let your performance speak for you. And
what he needs to go back to NXT. He needs to go down to NXT rather, not go back. He never went there. He needs to go down to NXT, build himself a brand, build himself up. I mean, look at the people who did go to NXT and came back up. They built themselves up to where it's great. I mean, for crying out loud, look at AOP.
Yeah.
The one thing that they did right, this whole time AOP did right, they never touched the microphone.
Well, and they let their persona that they
Exactly.
give off, they let that speak.
And even when they got new management, which I really don't know much about this guy because he was with 205, and I never paid attention to 205 as much as I should have, but he
Same
does
here.
a good job managing these guys. Because even when he doesn't grab the mic, his body language says it all for you.
Hell, look at the Bludgeon Brothers too. I mean, they did pretty much the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
And they started out in NXT.
Yeah. I mean, they may have had a little,
I mean, they-
little bit of a crappy run as a
They came
part
up
of
and
the Wyatt
then
family,
had, you know, a couple of crappy runs.
but they were able to come back from that.
Yeah, they were
And
able to come back
they-
and rebrand themselves.
They rebranded themselves the moment the two of them walked out there in their gear with their hammers. It's just like, who
Yeah.
the hell are these guys? Like,
The second you hear their music, you now know. And you're like, okay, it's showtime. It's
Yeah.
these guys. So
the only
yeah,
downside was that they made them into too much of a powerhouse, and I hope they don't go the same way with AOP, where they
yeah.
make
already
them, where
have.
they just plow through. They're still young
I think-
in their
I
other
don't-
career.
I think we'll see how AOP does here in the near future. Because I feel like they are going to get a little bit of a push. But we'll see what happens there. But speaking of tag teams,
Yeah.
Speaking of tag teams, the Shield, they beat McIntyre and Ziggler, those are their names, in the main event to win the Raw Tag Team titles. It was great. Victory.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom and my aunt were freaking out. It's the Shield. I was like, oh, awesome, cool, new tag champs.
yeah.
And then right when no one's paying attention at all, Dirty Deeds onto the titles.
Done dirt cheap.
That's right. Out of nowhere, and I wasn't a big fan of it the way WWE had it done, because why did they wait so long?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like they waited too long, but then if they were going to do it, they did it too soon.
Yeah, I think that's my thing. Is I think it was done too soon. Because I had a feeling it was going to happen. I really did. But I feel like right after winning the titles, it's too soon. But the thing that bothers me the most, and I've been watching the video over and over. I've been rewatching the video as many times, turning up the volume and everything else to see if I can figure this out. All I know is Dean kept saying, "Say it again. Say it again." What was said? What
was
did
said? Yeah.
he say? What did Seth Rollins say to cause Dean Ambrose to do that?
Yeah, and you'll hear him on the outside too. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Like,
Yeah.
what did he
I mean,
say?
it's like, okay, did he say something about lunatic again? Because we know that made him set off a little bit last time we mentioned lunatic time. But this is the guy who went by was billed as the lunatic French. He's been
Yeah.
billed as that. So is this just a whole new side of Dean's gimmick where he's tired of being called a lunatic? Or whatever. Like, the only other thing I saw is when he was holding Seth's face and he was, yelling at him, say it again or this or that. Or even outside when he was holding his face. Looking at Seth's face and reading his lips, I kept seeing him saying something like, "It's okay, it's okay." But I'm like, what's okay? And what did you say to tick this man off? So I'm trying to put the pieces together, and this is a mystery that's driving me nuts. I mean, sure, we'll probably get answers on Monday.
Yeah.
But where's the fun in waiting until Monday? I would have
Yeah,
figured it
that's
out.
gonna
I'm
be-
try to figure it out
I'm
now.
gonna have a spot on my head from scratching so much just thinking about
Yeah.
it. Like, what in the hell
'Cause, I mean,
did he say?
If you think about it, you can it could be something that they're wanting people to,
well, yeah.
think about.
And the only
And I'll-
thing that put it together in my head is when Dean grabbed the titles, he first threw Seth's tag title. Then he chucked his own tag title at Seth as well. Like, here, you can have yours. You know what? Have mine too. I don't want it. Almost like maybe said something like, "We did it. We won my tag championship," or something that made it sound like it was Seth
It was
taking
about-
the
yeah,
glory.
yeah.
And Dean's tired of that because that's the bug that's been placed in Dean's ear all the time. Is all Seth and all Roman care about is their titles, their glory, their this. They're not there for the team. They're there for themselves. So I'm wondering if like something was said that made it be like that, where Dean's like, you know what, you're all about yourself, everything else, fine. Screw this, I'm done. And maybe that's what was said. Because why else would he throw his half of the tag championship? I would have bought it more if he would have thrown Seth's half and then the IC title. That I would have gotten. But to throw his own half, something had to be said.
Certainly an interesting conundrum that we find
It is.
ourselves in.
And this is the first time Raw's really, quite a long time made me go, wait a minute here, I gotta figure this out. Other times, like, oh, okay, Monday's over. What's next?
Right.
But this is the first time I'm really kind of invested again.
Yeah, this is the first time, even like 3 or 4 days later, you can still sit here and be like, what happened
Yeah.
to make him go off like this?
So-
I mean, he peeled up the floor mat and hit Dirty Deeds on the bare concrete.
Yeah, I mean, so kudos to you, Stephanie. I mean, whatever happened there, kudos to you.
I'm just
Yeah.
baffled, really.
I understand Stephanie's a genius. I mean, after all, we share the same birthday and all, but the geniuses are all born on that day, so.
I'd say more geniuses are all born in the same
September?
month.
Yeah, I'll give you that too.
Anyway,
Rob's like, I'm changing my birth month.
to follow up with what we saw on Monday, we had an episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I mean, we started off, well, we didn't start off, but we saw the Big Show's return match. Like, this was his first, well, it wasn't really his return match, because his return match was a week or 2 weeks ago against Randy Orton for the World Cup qualifier.
That's true.
But this is his first full-time match, I guess you could say, back.
It was great seeing him in that ring. It really was.
I mean,
I'm
it
looking
was...
forward to seeing him, actually performing again, because if you follow him on any social media account, I mean, I've seen his progression from what he was previous to whenever he stepped away and what he looks like now. He is. He is a giant of a man, but he is built
He's got himself toned up big time.
I mean, and it was kind of cool to see the mind games, because New Day came down and said, all right, Kofi, you're in the match.
Yeah.
The Bar and Big Show came down, and Sheamus was like, all right, I'm your opponent. Ref goes to ring the bell. Wait a second.
I do love that mind game.
Wait a second. Big Show's your opponent.
I did love that mind game a lot. That was classic mind games there, and I appreciate it. And Corey Graves pointed it out. For once, the numbers are even. And that is something that's really interesting about this whole thing.
I can see a 6-man tag coming.
Yeah.
Maybe get 2 more people, Team New Day versus Team Bar and Big Show at Survivor Series.
I mean,
that'd be interesting.
Seeing Big E and Big Show duking it out.
Yeah.
Alone, that's worth watching.
The price of admission. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely though, it was good seeing Big Show back in there. I mean, he was one of the first guys I remember seeing live, because back in the WCW days.
WCW.
Yeah, WCW.
When he was the Giant.
Yeah. They were here in Springfield at one time, and my dad took me to go see WCW, because we were bigger WCW fans than we were WWE, but that's because, Ric Flair for my dad, and Sting for me, and all these other characters. And I remember seeing Big Show back then as a Giant in the ring against Bill Goldberg.
When he was just Goldberg, that was a hell of a match.
The thing was, not only was the fact that, it was, oh my gosh, this guy is huge, but then you see him size comparison to Goldberg.
Yeah.
And when you look on TV, you don't really realize how much of a difference it is. But when you see a person Goldberg's a dwarf to him.
I think Goldberg's 6'5", 6'6", maybe.
Yeah, and he's
pretty much a linebacker, and then you see him standing. His head is barely reaching Big Show's shoulder. I mean, it's the same with seeing Strowman and
it's you're still holy crap, this guy literally is a giant.
I mean, hell, it's like comparing myself and you standing side by side.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 6'4", and you're.
I'm not. I'm 5'10", 5'11", something like that.
So there's still that.
There's that gap. Yeah.
It's wow. I mean, hell, I've had to look up at people before. Rare, but I've had to do it.
Exactly. I mean, but it's so great though to see him back and everything else. It brought back a lot of sense of nostalgia for me.
Oh man!
And to see him, not only that, but after the match in the no contest, just clean house with choke slams and knockout punches and everything else. The Big Show is back, baby. And I'm happy about it.
And he's back in a bigger way than just coming out, having a match. Oh yeah, I did my normal stuff and leaving.
Yeah.
This is, I did my normal stuff, but I'm did my normal stuff like 6 times in a row to add emphasis and show you that I'm not screwing around.
And I walk out and I'm not even tired. And
He's a man with purpose this time, and it's good.
But we see the same thing with freaking Mysterio doing his laying down his thing though too. I mean he laid Nakamura out already.
Yeah, 2 different nights, 2 weeks total. He has really shown that he still has what it takes. I mean, great, yeah, he's been performing outside of WWE and everything else.
Yeah.
But to see how he still gets that pop with the fans and everything else,
it's that nostalgia again too. I mean, we saw him perform in WCW as well. So it's wow.
And I'm sorry, but not only was his match great, but his comebacks towards Miz were hilarious.
Oh yeah.
You know, Miz
you
was trying
put
to
Miz in his place and get him to shut his mouth. That's
Miz was trying to knock him down a peg and make little comments. And my favorite part was when Ray's like, I'm sorry. I thought I was going to be on Truth TV. And I lost it there. I was like, that is the best burn you can do to the Miz right now.
It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. Both weeks.
I want to steal one from Bobby Roode and just say it was glorious.
Because, first off, Mysterio and Shinsuke, I don't know if it's the first time ever, but at least in WWE it's first time
absolutely.
ever. And it was a great match. And I love the way when Mysterio beat Shinsuke, he looks at the referee. And when it was happening live, I just looked up, I heard the bell ring, I looked up, oh, Mysterio won. And I was like, wait, did they screw something up? Because Mysterio was absolutely dumbfounded that he just won the match.
Yeah.
So, but then he won and it was great. Then the next week, Mysterio, hey, awesome. And it was a great match. Mysterio showed he still got all the numbers.
And the good part is that Miz has faced Mysterio before. So, I mean, the fact that there is some familiarity there, but yet Mysterio is still able to pull the win over Miz is a great thing to show that he's ready for the crown jewel.
And it's definitely going to be great for me because it's cool to see Mysterio face guys that he hasn't faced in years.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if he ever gets the chance, even in the World Cup, to face John Cena.
That'll be a good match.
It's going to be a good one.
That Orton, I mean, because he's had a good time against Orton, too.
Well, hell, Jeff Hardy as well.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing also when it comes, I mean, heck, he had good matches against
Kurt Angle.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing for me, though, is like, it took me a long time to become a Rey Mysterio fan.
Yeah.
Because I grew up understanding the honorable code of Lucha Libre. And when Mysterio lost his mask in WCW and then came over to the WWE and had his mask back on, I was one of the first people calling foul. I was angry. I was like, I am not going to be a fan of Mysterio ever again because he's violating the terms of Lucha Libre. It wasn't until after the fact when they released the documentary video with him about how he had to go through so many channels with the Lucha Libre committee to get permission to get his mask back on, because he explained to him, he was pretty much told by WCW when Kevin Nash was running the show, either you lose the mask or you lose your job. And so he had no choice, really. His hands were tied. And that's why it was so hard for him to lose that mask during the WCW match. I mean, I went back and watched it, and it's like you could tell it was tearing him up.
Yeah.
But it was because it was against his will. So after I learned that, I was like, okay, I have better respect for him knowing that he went through the proper channels and everything else.
I mean, hell, he wouldn't have been able to do it had he not gone. I mean, he could have done it, but there would have been a lot of other people just like you throwing down like the fouls.
Well, and that's just it. Is that because I didn't know, I was throwing down foul, and I figured he did just because he was like, we know it's a different company, so I can do what I want. It's like, no. And that's what got me so mad. Knowing that now and seeing how he still pays honor to that and respect that. He still also does a lot of honor and respect to his fans. And honestly, I really hope that when it comes to Crown Jewel, one way or the other, he does something that shows some symbolicness to his best friend, Eddie Guerrero. Because that would be awesome. Because we all know that even with all the feuds, Eddie and Ray were close friends.
Oh, yeah.
And
totally.
Everybody knows and remembers and loves Eddie. So.
And that's another one of those guys that, I mean, definitely miss.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Hell of a transition there, right, Rob?
Oh, he's fine.
Speaking of things that miss, AJ Styles kicked to Daniel Bryan
Yes.
that he missed on one of the Usos.
Oh, yeah.
And connected with Dan. See, what a wonderful segue, I know.
Yeah.
I'm a genius too, see there. Anyway, so
Well,
AJ Styles accidentally kicked Daniel Bryan.
Accidentally? Which was accidentally?
Accidentally.
Maybe accidentally.
Accidentally.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I'm sorry, but that was my favorite little part of that whole promo on the back is it was just accident. Your nose is getting a little bit bigger. It's like, dang, Daniel's really laying it on thick.
I mean,
But
if
you know what?
anybody was going to pull out one, it's definitely Daniel Bryan. I mean,
it's something great to see.
It's nice to see some
building.
tension, yes, I agree.
Now, it's a matter of who do you think, because it's inevitable, who do you think will turn first?
Well, the
If
thing
it
is,
happens at all.
Well, the thing is, they're saying there's not going to be any more tag matches with those two. It's now going to be just focused on singles. But it's just who's going to be the one. I think the better way to word it is who's going to be the one to resort to questionable tactics first.
probably Styles.
That's what I'm thinking. Styles has been showing more and more of his temper getting the better of him.
And well,
I would
and
love
a lot
to
of
see
what Samoa Joe did too also is still obviously affecting him.
Yeah.
So that's clearly you're going to feed off of that.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, personally, even though I know the fans would hate it, I would love to see Daniel Bryan go back to being a heel. I would love to see the. I would love to see the no Bryan. You know,
Not even the no. Maybe even get rid of the yes or the no.
The people
And
will
just
not let it
walk out.
The moment that Daniel Bryan, regardless if he comes out heel or face, yes, but we've seen the yes movement cross like brands. I've seen it at not just other wrestling shows.
NFL, NHL, MLB.
I mean, you see people doing this.
You see
I
them.
mean,
You see people doing that at jobs. You see people doing that at MMA shows. I mean, you see people doing it everywhere. It's people who don't even know wrestling
yeah, but they
know what the yes chant is. And
Anybody-
they'll do it.
anybody that uses like Facebook Messenger and they've got that GIF on there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
type in yes, the first one that comes up is Daniel Bryan in the back.
Doing
doing
the yes
this.
chant. Yeah.
Like, I mean, and then they're going like, who the hell is that guy? I got to find out who that is. And then, bam, there you go.
I mean, Daniel Bryan's yes chant, and well, Daniel Bryan himself as well, I would say, is almost to that same level of how, when you mention professional wrestling to anybody, especially of our age or older, whether they've watched professional wrestling or not, the first thing they're going to associate to is Hulk Hogan.
I was gonna
Daniel
say-
Bryan's getting to that point.
I was going to say Stone Cold. Because, I mean, anybody that's either been a fan or the younger generations.
That's still not
that had-
Stone Cold, yeah.
But, I mean, but then they hear the what?
That's
I mean,
true.
We hear it all the time.
That's
maybe
true.
Not, maybe it doesn't cross, into other sports, but it definitely does go into the indies. Like, we'll hear people referring to it.
But I honestly
There's no
do.
kidding.
I honestly do believe that he may go there because, like, I know if I was to go to, say, I was with your grandparents. I mean, you said your grandpa liked wrestling, right?
Kind of.
Okay. I mean, if I mentioned, if I said Hulk Hogan, he'd probably know what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Right off the top of his head.
Yeah, if I was to go to your grandma about that, she would. If I was to go to even your wife's grandparents, they'd probably be like, "Oh yeah, I know who Hulk Hogan is."
Because
I'd be
everybody
like,
knows
That
that.
was almost a household
He
name.
was.
like
Well,
that.
he was a household name.
And he is
Eat your
still.
vitamin, say your prayers.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that. And
Because
Daniel Bryan's getting to that point. I think he.
Are we going to see a Hollywood version of?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I mean, because the only other person who's made it to himself being a namesake like that, I mean, you could say Stone Cold a little bit, you could also say The Rock a little bit, and you could also say John Cena a little bit.
I was going to say Ventura.
Jesse the Body,
I mean,
yes and
that
no.
might
Some
be
people
more
like
because
that.
of politics.
well, but he's an actor. He's a Navy SEAL. He's
Yeah, I honestly think
a
that
wrestler and politics.
I mean, 'cause I know a lot of people. You mentioned John Cena. They may not watch wrestling, but they know who John Cena is.
Well, it's the same with The
And
Rock,
that's
just
just
because of his movie
that's-
career.
John Cena's more just because of memes. That
Yeah,
one
that's
video
just it. The one
where
thing
the guy did the prank
John
call.
Cena.
They did the prank call on the dude's wife, and
Yeah.
she starts cussing up the radio
Yeah,
coming
I mean,
over.
and that's just it. It's like that became near household name. I feel like Daniel's getting to that point now too, and it's kind of interesting to see how these people transition like that.
It's definitely something that's evolved.
It has.
Totally. I mean,
Like, it went from just something where Daniel Bryan was playing against the crowd
Oh yeah.
to the crowd would start chanting yes, trying to get him to break and say yes. And then finally he does it, and they start doing it with him, and pretty soon it's seas of people, oceans worth of people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, where you could even go over the sound of any music that could potentially be playing. It covers everything.
Yes, and
I
I mean,
don't think we'll see Daniel Bryan break. I think we're going to see him stick with the.
I don't think we will, but I think it'd be nice. I mean, but like you said, he did learn to embrace the yes, just like Kurt Angle did with the "You Suck." So-
You suck.
but it's nice to see those characters learn to not only embrace it, but evolve with the fans to get to that point.
Well, even Roman Reigns embraces the booze that he gives.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and he doesn't let it slow him down at all.
Yeah.
and now the guys aren't the only ones that have evolved with the fans to the point
That's
they're at
true.
right now, because you've also got the immense amount of women in WWE.
Yes.
It went from maybe you'll see the same 4 women on every show weekly for months and months.
And we'll see him in the ring for a total of like 3 or 4
3 or 4
minutes.
minutes, yeah.
And their entrances combined lasted longer than their match in the ring.
Yeah.
Because the fact that that was part of the whole diva thing that they had going.
Yeah.
That was part of the I've heard.
Women's to early divas to late divas to now we have women's again. I mean, like you said, it's been a process of evolution.
It's evolved because way back in
It's
the 70s or 80s or even early 90s, women's wrestling was, well, that's a woman and she wrestles
Yeah.
and she's good at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then you get into the late 90s and all of the 2000s up until about 2015, and you see this is a joke.
Yeah.
Braun
it's
Panties
good.
matches.
Yeah. Some of it's good. Some of it's what the heck is this?
We don't want to see no
matches.
women in the ring. We want to see a bunch of guys wearing short shorts and tights in that ring, throwing each other around,
Well, I
getting all
mean,
sweaty.
but I mean, that's why I said late divas, because like you get to late divas like Beth Phoenix and all that, we started to get
I mean, hell,
away from
there
the bra
were
and panties to
some-
where we started to get a little bit more
Yeah,
serious.
there were some of the higher prospect divas that definitely
China was
were
pushing
taken
back.
seriously. I mean, China won a couple of men's titles.
Oh yeah,
She was one of those ones
She-
that was breaking the mold.
she was tired. She was a combined IC champion for a while
Yeah.
there.
And then you had Lita and
Yeah.
Trish Stratus.
Yep.
But then you also had other people like the Cat,
The Cat, yeah, or Mickey James or
Mickey
Molly
James,
Holly.
Molly Holly.
Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria. I mean, you got a lot of them. And the thing is, though, it took a lot of them time to get away from the initial, we want, you're there for looks. You're there for the bra and panties and everything else to, okay, you actually do have some wrestling skill. Let's you show people what you can do.
Yeah.
To where now it's, we know you have what it takes, and we want you to be the main event for tonight's show.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's what we want. That's what we want to see. I mean, we want to see.
We want you to be the
them
main
perform.
event. We want you to be the main event. But that main event's not just going to be a normal, 8 to 10 minute match. That main event's going to be an hour and a half long Royal Rumble
Yeah.
Yeah.
or a 25-minute Hell in a Cell match,
Or
Like
an Iron Man
Evolution.
match.
Oh,
like Evolution.
yeah.
Hopefully, it'll be the last woman standing match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's going to be an intense one.
that it will.
And for Evolution, you're seeing so many names,
Oh, yeah.
not only that have made a namesake in WWE as of late, but you're seeing so many names that made their namesake years and years ago coming back.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh,
let's go
hell,
over
I mean-
what we've got happening really quick.
Well,
Yeah, let's
Trish
do
and
it.
Lita alone. I mean, that's
Trish and Lita, supposedly against Alexa Bliss and Mickey James. I've heard Alexa Bliss is hurt again. Hopefully she can make it to Evolution, because it's a legitimate injury, I believe, and
Well, here's hopefully.
that's why she wasn't on Raw this week.
Yeah.
And hopefully she can make it to Evolution,
It's
because
probably
this
just-
was
it's probably just some space to like.
because originally
Make
it
people
was supposed to be Alexa Bliss defending the Raw Women's Championship against Trish Stratus. Well, Alexa dropped the title
Yeah.
to Ronda Rousey, and then Trish was like, "Hey, you know what? You've got your little buddy Mickey James. I've got Lita."
Yeah. And the best part about that also is with that tag match, and in theory it's still going the way it is, Mickey James has a history of both Lita and Trish. I mean, Mickey James was the obsessed girl over Trish, who took Trish's moves and made it her own, and made like the Mick kick and everything else.
Kind of a version of the Miz right now.
Yeah,
with
and I mean, she won the title off of Trish by doing a very questionable grab and a gesture with her hand before taking out the women's champion. And yeah, you remember what I'm talking about. But I mean, so there's a long
crap.
Oh, there's a long history there. I'm looking forward to seeing how questionable it's
I know what you're talking about. I know the questionable grab that you're speaking of.
So I mean, but I like the fact that that's going to be a returned rivalry, even if it's for one night.
Even whenever they get the chance to actually be in the ring together, you're going to see it. You're going to see that tension between the hell. Even before they get tagged in, if they're not the first ones going in there, you're going to see that tension across the ring.
And then we saw Trish back at the Royal Rumble. She looked absolutely phenomenal. Like she didn't miss a step.
I mean,
I can't wait to see Trish get in there with Alexa Bliss.
It's pretty much the same kind of thought whenever I saw her for the first time in a long time when I saw Victoria. Yeah. I mean, it was just like, wow. I mean, you're how old now?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
she was great.
But that's not it. It's not only the nostalgia factor.
Oh, no, of course not.
You've also got these newer women on the scene. Like you've got Toni Storm and Io Shirai in the Mae Young Classic Finals.
That's going to be a good, intense match. Those ladies have really done a good job during that. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one plays out.
Both of those women definitely deserve it because it was, what, a 32-woman tournament.
Yeah.
And it's come down to these two. 30 women are gone.
Yeah.
And there's 2 left.
I tell you,
they both deserve it.
For sure. From what I've seen of both of them, their performances are phenomenal. But honestly, the match besides the Battle Royal and Bella and Rousey, the 6-woman tag.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm looking for.
I'm looking forward to that.
You got your girls.
I got both my girls, Bailey and Natty, in the same corner. And normally I'd be like 100% saying that's the team that's going to take it and everything else. But again, Sasha's there.
Yeah.
She's my X factor that makes me not have confidence in that team.
They've definitely improved their.
They have, but I still don't trust Sasha.
You still feel that tension there?
I don't trust Sasha. She's been a double crosser one too many times. I feel Riot Squad's been a well formulated and well gelled out team.
See,
that I can't feel confident in them.
3 of the Riot Squad, though, I feel that there's something fracturing with them.
It's possible.
I don't feel like the 3 of them are going to remain as a unit for much longer.
And that's very
it's
possible.
kind of like what we were talking about with how long we thought that Strowman's team was going to be, and it was only a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, that's true. We have a good point.
We were tossing around the idea of Shield fracturing. Of course, now it's fractured because of other reasons, but it's in that same context. I mean, if anything, I feel like this match is going to make the bond between Sasha and Bailey stronger than it was before.
And here's hoping. Like I said, this is one of those few times where I can't hold my breath.
If anything, I think Natty might be the X factor.
Not
in a bad way. Not in a bad way, though. Not in a bad. I'm talking like
being more of a glue
in the kind of holding them together. If she feels that tension, obviously, because we know that Natty's a very experienced solo, but she's just as good whenever she has to work with people.
Yeah.
And when she works with people, she's capable of actually bonding.
She's a good mentor. She's a second generation wrestler from her dad. If you want to count Stu and everything else, she's a 3rd generation from her grandpa.
And of course, the only one to have survived the Heart Dungeon.
Yeah, the only woman to survive the Heart Dungeon.
Yeah. I forgot for a second.
But I mean, who knows? She may be the glue. You may have a point there. But I mean, you mentioned before about the Bella Rousey thing, and that's another one that's going to be interesting because Rousey held true to her word during the contract signing. I'm not going to lay a hand on you, even after getting slapped across the face. I thought she was going to snap, and then she just turned around and gave this smile, this all-knowing smile of, okay.
You're gonna get yours
Okay.
when we're in the ring
Yeah,
together.
exactly. It's like, I see what you're trying to do, but just wait. And so it's kind of neat to see how much they're building they're making more depth and detail to Rousey. Because for a while there, I mean, you had to sit there and go, okay, Bella may have a point where she's kind of one-dimensional to some extent.
Oh, Alexa
But
Bliss
now-
is making the same same points.
But now she's getting some depth. She's getting some of that multi-dimensional aspect to her character. But I said before, I'll say it again. She had the best comeback when it came to the Bellas about that door.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, but that was one of those, like, talk about some harsh truth. Good job, Rhonda.
The same door she got thrown out of. That was.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that match, and I'm not usually looking forward to anything that's to do with the Bellas, but that's one where just because of the nice confrontation and wordplay that they've been using so far, I'm like, this is going to get saucy.
Oh yeah. And there's going to be some
There's
salt
no
in
kidding
that
there.
sauce for sure. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's going to, if anything, Rousey's going to stretch it out.
Oh, I
She
hope
did.
so. I hope
I hope she didn't get in there and just beat her ass and then leave within a few minutes. I hope she ends up breaking
Yeah.
her.
I mean, you talk about salt that's going to be rubbed into a wound that's there just from the words.
Yeah.
How about the salt that's been there
Oh,
and the salt that's not going anywhere when Lynch and Charlotte go at it?
That poor friendship is so dead. And you know what?
We said the same thing though about the friendship between Bella and, or between
Bailey and Sasha?
Bailey and Sasha.
True, but this one I feel is definitely dead. I think, and the thing is, I'm okay with this one because this new Becky, I am all for. I mean, and she even burned one of my favorite wrestlers, Edge, during the 1000th episode. When she turned around and said, "You're right, I don't like me. I love me." And then she started making comments about Edge and his career. And I'm just like, oh, this is one of my favorite guys. You're going to be like, oh, hell no. And I'm sitting there going, well played, young lady. You're really building up your heel status here. This is good.
She knew exactly what to say and how to say it, especially against Edge, and that was. I actually thought that was pretty funny too.
I think the only thing that was better than that is when they showed the clip of her at the Performance Center interrupting Charlotte and talking down all those young women of how they're not going to get up to there. They're not going to get to where she is as a champion. Because that's a true heel champion right there going, you know what? Go ahead. Keep training. Keep performing. Trying to get yourself up to the main card. But you're never getting to where I am because I'm never going to let you get anywhere near this belt.
I mean, it's essentially the same thing a drill instructor does. Try to push you down, make you feel like absolute dirt. And that's essentially the motivation that those women need.
Oh, yeah.
They need to be told by somebody that's up higher than them, telling them, look, you are not getting up here to where I am. No matter what you do.
And to have them prove her wrong, yeah.
I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure Asuka, when she was going through the training for that, I guarantee you that's exactly the type of training and type of context she got for that.
And the good part is we are going to get to see some of those women from NXT and all that stuff with, Kairi Shane and Shayna Baszler? I can't remember.
Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler.
Baszler, thank you. I always have a hard time with that last name. But those are two very talented women.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to get to see, again, like Triple H said, the DX of the old is, slowly coming back, but there's an X that's still running strong. That's NXT, and we're going to get to see that evolution with these two women who are phenomenal.
I
at what
love
they
how
do.
he did that, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He's not only, reviving D-Generation X, but he goes ahead and throws that little
Shameless
plug
Yeah.
for him.
I mean, there's so many good things going on here. There really is. And, normally I don't like to have it where we talk so much about a pay-per-view, but this is historic. And this is one that I am so glad they're finally doing.
Oh,
And
long overdue.
And it's a card. It's a card to build up and make that pay-per-view what they're making it out to be.
Exactly.
They're making it out to be worth so much and it's going to be worth watching, sitting down and watching. I think they're going to play up to that just looking at this card. Because you've got not only all of these older women coming back to put on maybe just one more huge match, but you've got all these newer women from all around the world coming up as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Baszler and Kairi Sane, that's the NXT Women's Championship on the line there. I think Kairi Sane's the defending champion against Shayna Baszler, the former champion. They've definitely had their hard times against each other as well. But that's not all. The card we just went through isn't all, because we've also got that Battle Royal.
Exactly. And the best thing is whoever wins that, whether it's NXT, SmackDown, Raw, they win it, they get to go up against whoever for that women's title in that respective area. There's so much possibility there.
How many are actually listed to be in this?
In the Battle Royal? I think
Yeah.
they said it was 30, didn't they?
I think so. I don't know.
But I mean, the thing is, this is like the biggest card you can imagine. And the thing is, it's already paid for itself business-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Because even though you can't really put dollar signs down right now until the show actually happens, the publicity of it alone has paid for itself, and you know it's going to be a success.
Oh, and you know it's going to be a repeating thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's
going to be a second year, a third year, or whatever year. And just
Evolution 2.
And just like you said before, and just like I saw people holding signs up on Monday Night Raw,
Took the words right out
there's
of my
going to
mouth.
eventually be that tag team belt for the women, because people are asking for it. And
I've been saying it for months.
And I'm
now.
sure Stephanie is not playing deaf. She is paying attention to what people are asking for.
Oh no, because I think they're teasing. Stephanie's got this big announcement that she's going to reveal at Evolution.
And I think that's
And
going to
I
be
think
it.
that's what it's going to be.
And if we get the chance to actually, commentate live during it, which I would love to do. It's not, unfortunately, not set in stone if we're going to be able to pull it off. But if we get a chance to do it, I am looking forward to my reaction when that happens, because I'm going to jump off the couch. Yes! Yes!
I mean, it's going to be intense.
You look at the lineup for this Battle Royal. You've got all these women, like, Alicia Fox. I'm sure Naomi's in it, and Asuka.
Yeah.
But then you've got, like, Molly Holly.
Yeah.
I think Ivory's in it.
Ivory's in it, yep.
So many other women.
There's
and
going to be a lot
not
of
every
big
entrant
names.
has been announced, but do you think there's going to be any surprises? Like,
I already
maybe
Ember Moon.
Jacqueline.
Ember's in there, I know.
Jacqueline.
Jackie, it'd be nice to see Jackie back in there.
I mean, there's rumors going around. I don't know how likely it is, but maybe AJ Lee.
Oh, man. Okay, right there. Real talk. You bring AJ Lee in there, I will personally lose my shit.
I mean,
Because even during SmackDown, when they talked about, the World Cup and finding out who's the best in the world, it cracked me up so much with how the fans were chanting CM Punk. And what did Shane do? I don't think he's in this tournament. And so if you get AJ into that women's battle royal, I would lose it.
I only wish that China were still with us.
Oh, she would make it all.
She would be in there.
Oh yeah.
She'll come back from the dead and just own that shit for sure.
See, I was thinking right when they announced that World Cup, I'm like, oh, cool, they're doing a World Cup. But then they had to take it one step further and say it will crown the best in the world. I'm like, okay. I think the night they announced that, they were in Chicago.
Yeah.
It was an awful idea.
It was a terrible idea because
It's
Chicago made Punk.
But
and I guarantee you,
I was like, this is the opening.
chanting
This
for
is
him.
the opening for CM Punk to come back, but I know it's not going to happen.
Hey,
Then you've got first
you don't
ever
know- you
women's pay-per-view.
you don't know until it happens, because you never
I do
know.
know it's not going to happen.
You never know the way that Shane responded to that. That
I
tells
don't
me
know.
he
But
knows people
CM
still
Punk,
want
he
to.
turned down $1 million offer to
Yeah.
go wrestle an indie show.
Hey,
If Brooks was to come back, breaking character here, but if Brooks was to come back, yes, I'd be very happy. I've always been a big CM Punk fan. But I would be shocked because of how much tension and disdain there is between him and Triple H. I would be so shocked. I would be willing to almost eat one of my hats.
I would rather, honestly, if I could see anybody come back that's recently left, Neville would be the only one that I think I would want to see.
Neville would be a good one too. I mean, Neville was a very good performer. But
No kidding there.
Yeah.
And they misused Neville all the hell.
they did. They did.
But no, so we've got so much coming up. We've got Crown Jewel we're looking forward to. We've got Evolution.
That's still kind of. I mean, they've actually removed
Yeah.
a lot of the iconography from the websites for WWE.
Well, they're talking about Crown Jewel,
But-
and they still talk about Crown Jewel. Just notice
they-
on Raw and SmackDown and everywhere they promote it, in a while, they have not mentioned the word Saudi Arabia at all.
Cole's the only one that's dropped it.
Yeah.
I think he's dropped it once.
Yeah, it's
And-
true.
And he was the one that was one of the first ones during the Greatest Royal Rumble. Was the first one that was like, "We're grateful, to be, in this amazing country." And John Cena even did his bit when he was there. And it's just like, I don't.
But no,
It's because of all the political crap that's going on right now. Vince has got like a ton on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, and he's not a dumb man. He pays attention to all those little details before he makes the final decision.
It's
no,
a 10-year.
you
I'm
read
sorry again, but it's a 10-year contract for. I don't even know the final amount.
like
Yeah.
all this.
just in the first year, they've gotten like 40 to 60 million.
Yeah.
I heard that
But-
they actually changed the arena too because of.
They changed the arena from a 65,000 seat arena to a 25,000 seat arena. But what I'm seeing, I'm reading up online, and there's two huge names that are saying, dude, no, I don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. You're going to have to do a lot for me
I
if you're
heard
going to go to Saudi Arabia. They're talking John Cena
Yeah.
and Brock Lesnar.
I've heard a few more actually, but not specific names. But I've heard a lot have actually spoken up and said no.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It really will be.
And it's not like Vince is going to look at him and be like, all right, fine, you're fired.
Yeah.
You lose your push.
He's not gonna cancel
Because those are your two of Vince's big money
names.
guys.
Yeah, they're your big draws.
And the fact that
As much as I hate Brock Lesnar, he's a big draw.
the fact that Lesnar's supposed to be the main ticket for the card, I mean that alone would
Exactly.
be the dumbest thing that Vince has ever done among dumb things.
Yeah.
But no, you see so much happening in WWE, right? You've still got local as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And one thing that was just announced today, a huge independent wrestling show.
okay.
You may know it as PWA's home, but PWA has said, hey, listen, go ahead and use our arena for this show. You want to break out in Springfield, here you go. So I'm going to give you all the information off the flyer I have right
Yes,
now.
I
I
wanna hear
haven't
about this
memorized
rumor.
everything.
I want to hear about this rumor. I've been
This
hearing
is
a little
the
bit
first
about
It's
it.
a
I think
show.
we've even heard, honestly.
It's a show called Pro Wrestling Force. It's not a joint show. I think it's an actual company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sunday, December 16th, 2018 at the 8th Street Gym, 1401 North 8th Street in Springfield.
You got that down.
He does.
Doors open 2 p.m. Show starts 3 p.m.
Early.
In advance, front row tickets are $18. Second row tickets are $15 and general admission is $12. At the door, front row's $20, second row $16, and general admission's $15. We're going to see, sponsored by 01 USA and PWA,
Okay.
almost like a supercard, essentially. You've got Jake Omen versus Aaron Williams,
Okay.
Sophie King versus Tootie Lynn Ramsey,
Okay.
Myron Reed versus PWA Regional Heavyweight Champion Jake Lander. I don't think he's defending the title.
Fair enough.
A 6-way Lucha Scramble, which I saw the card for that. I know Jake Parnell's involved. That's about all I remember there.
Okay.
But your main event to crown, or to qualify, a first round contest in the Pro Wrestling Force Pure Championship Tournament. Logan James takes on Juice Robinson from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Former NXT superstar, he was known as CJ Parker.
Yep. I remember CJ Parker.
They're all going to be in Springfield, and I'm sure it's going to be a great show.
Absolutely.
Are we going to be there?
I don't see why
We
not.
better. It's in our hometown. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure. It sounds like an amazing car.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of guys coming up from like St. Louis, I believe, is where a lot of these guys are around and from.
And we saw Tootie like a month ago.
She was incredible.
And
Yeah.
that's not all, though. We've also got just PWA coming up. November 10th at the 8th Street Gym, 1401 North 8th Street in Springfield, Art of War.
Mm-hmm.
Adults $12, kids 6 to 12 are $10, kids 5 and under are always free.
Always free.
We're going to
Always.
see a huge rivalry come to a head.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Derek Moss versus Tom Arson in a loser leaves PWA match.
That's right.
I mean, Derek Moss won the regional title from Arson, had his problems back in 2015, almost 4 years ago. And they're coming back up now. Of course, Moss didn't win the title back from Lander,
Yeah.
but gets attacked from behind from Arson. Arson says, hey, I'm looking for closure, and I'm looking to defeat you once and for all. And I'm not going to stop attacking you like this and beating your ass and costing you matches until I get that match. Arson cost Moss Brawltoberfest.
That's true.
And Moss said, hey, you want a match? Fine. But you're going to get the closure you want because the loser's going to leave this company for good.
That's true. I remember that.
So you've got Derek Moss, who's Hall of Fame worthy, definitely. You've got Tom Arson, who is a PWA Hall of Famer. One-on-one, who do you think's going to win?
I don't know. That's gonna be it's gonna be a close one. Because
Yeah.
you've got two people who are very talented and very driven.
It'll be a very good match. And honestly, either one of them has the potential of taking a victory there.
See, I'm going to have to say Derek Moss. For one
Is
reason
that
only.
because of your recent encounter with Arson?
Not only that, but you saw back in May, loser leaves company match, Derek Moss beat President Archie.
That's true.
And Archie pulled out every single stop that he had in his back pocket. So I think Moss has got it down, the importance of a match like this.
But the difference between Archie's capabilities and Arson's are like night and day.
True,
Arson's a
but
more-
Moss knows the mentality. The mentality is 50% of what you have to do in the ring.
Arson's
The
capabilities.
other 50 is
though-
the physicality.
Arson's capabilities in the ring, though. I mean, I'm not apologizing to formerly known as President Archie at all in this. Archie's not near as capable in the ring as Tom Arson is.
Oh, there's no kidding
Yes.
on that. And it's just something.
It's gonna come down to who wants it more. Who
Yeah.
wants to
And-
stay in that
and-
company more? Who wants to
And both equally,
survive?
both are equally driven, regardless of Arson's Hall of Fame status.
And you're gonna see these two men claw, scratch, and climb to stay in that company. It's
There's
gonna be
no
intense.
kidding there. But we're also going to see tag titles defended. Attitude Inc.
Yes.
defend against the Hooligans.
That's
the
gonna be
Hooligans won
interesting.
#1
Yeah.
contendership. There's really no backstory to this.
Yeah.
Only backstory is back in the New Midwest days. Attitude Inc. would always retain the New Midwest tag titles against the Hooligans. Can the Hooligans finally pull off a victory against Attitude Inc.?
That's gonna be
That's the
really
real
question.
question.
The experience they have in the ring with him obviously is going to give them maybe a little bit of
That's going to
a head up on him.
be a huge
But
match.
either way.
It's going to be a great match.
Oh yeah, totally.
But then you've got the really big match of the night. Jake Lander will defend the Regional Heavyweight Championship. It was announced on Facebook, I believe, just today. A video package came out. Former Ring of Honor World Champion. Former New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Former Never Openweight Champion. Michael Elgin
Nice.
challenges Jake Lander for the Regional Heavyweight Championship on November 10th.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
Michael Elgin says, hey, I saw you, and you were getting better and better by night and day in that wrestling ring. And you came down to train for me, train with me. And I've trained you, and I have bettered your craft by 58%, 97%, however much. And a trainer's number one rule should always be teach what you want them to know.
That's right.
Don't
them
teach
everything.
what you know.
Right.
So Michael Elgin thinks, yeah, I did such a great job training you. But hey, we're going to see if you can take on the guy that brought you through the ranks. I've seen Jake Lander take on his original trainer, Guy Smith, and Jake Lander won that match.
Yeah.
Will he be able to knock off Michael Elgin, though?
That's a good question. That's a tough question.
It'll be a hell of a competition. I mean, the thing is, though, Elgin knows Lander, and Lander knows Elgin, obviously, but Lander's obviously his capabilities have expanded in the last months.
Not only that, but the thing about Lander is, we always talk about how he's got this unlimited potential, he's untapped energy and everything else. And I still truly believe that about the guy.
Oh, totally.
The thing is, he's not at his peak.
Oh,
No,
nowhere.
I know people are like, oh, but he's doing so great. Yes, he's doing great. He's phenomenal.
He's on the
But he is not at his peak yet. He still has ways to go, and is only going to keep getting better and better.
Exactly.
This kid is going to go places. We all know it. We all see it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah, he's been trained by this guy. And like I said, you teach them only what you want them to know. You don't teach them everything you know. But at the same token, Lander has learned from so many people, so many things,
Oh, yeah.
whether they've been his trainer or his opponent. And he's, for lack of a better phrase, going into nerd mode here, he's like a mini Super Saiyan.
God.
Because you can knock his butt down, but he's going to learn from you. He's going to get back up, and he's going to be 10 times better, 20 times better, however many times better, until he can take you down and then go, nah, I'm the one who's standing. Who's next? Because he's hungry. He's always hungry for more. That's why I'm not going to be surprised the day that we hear, hey guys, I love Springfield, I love this place and everything else, but it's time for me to follow the same path as my brother Roscoe, and I'm going to be down in Texas.
Hey, the idea that every single time I've seen him not only just perform, but also when he talks to other ones that are coming up through the ranks.
He's very humble.
It's not just the humble. It's these guys and girls that are learning. They look up to him.
Yeah.
And they see and hear what he says and what he does, and it just is like, I don't know if I'll go full nerd mode. It's more of like when you see a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do that kind of stuff. That's what we see. Basically, Lander's the movie creator, and the regular, just everyday Joe is sitting in the crowd going, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. And
He does. He does motivate him like that.
I mean, it seemed. I mean, not to like down TED Talks, but the last time it was for Halloween before, because we were all waiting so long, and he was in there just talking to them, and just talking and telling them things. It wasn't even something. There was very little action. It was just everybody was surrounding the ring,
Yeah.
and he was just talking to them. And hell, I was even listening to some of this. I'm like, I know I can't get in the ring, but if I had the capability, I definitely would have the motivation right
Absolutely.
now. Like, it was mind blowing.
Like I said, the kid's got it. He really
Oh,
does.
yeah, totally.
Lander is the type of guy who will look at you and tell you the absolute truth.
Yeah.
I've seen him look at people and be like, no, your opinion doesn't matter to me. What are you?
Yeah.
I've seen him look at people and be like, dude, what you did out there was great. Here's how you can improve. I've seen him look at people and be like, I like you. You're great. I'm going to suggest your name everywhere I go and get you booked.
Yeah.
Lander's the type of guy that'll do that for you. If you message him and be like, how can I contact this promoter to get on this show? He'll be like, oh, I'll talk to him for you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you know, and not only that, but like from personal experience, it's like, okay, a lot of things, and Brian brought up one good point last week, of people have egos in wrestling. That's just how it is.
Really? I couldn't tell that last week.
Lander's one of those guys where, whether or not he has an ego, like I said, he will humble himself to the right people, but he'll also sit there and, you know, I can sit here and talk to him about stuff or my suggestions or my ideas with him, and he can be like other people I've had before. Who the hell are you? What do you think I want to hear from you? But instead, he'll listen. He'll give you the time of day. He'll listen to you. Then, like you said, he'll give you his honest feedback. And like how most people who are going to be successful, you respect him and respect his craft, you're going to get it back. And with him, you get it back in spades.
Totally.
So he's a good kid.
And I look forward to seeing him perform. I know we're going to have. We got him scheduled to come actually in here in the coming months. I know our next guest, though, is going to be Mike Ushman.
Yes.
Next week.
The Maniac.
Yeah.
Maniac Mike Ushman, as you all may know him as, Ian McManus. I'm always going to refer to him as the Maniac because that's how him and I first got to know each other back in the days of 3CW.
I'm looking forward to having him in here. That'll be fun.
He's a riot.
He's a great guy to be around. He's so fun to talk to, and he's so fun to just spend time with. He's a really great guy.
He's got good
We're
stories.
going to be able to have plenty of them coming from us. So.
Anyway, a great week in wrestling.
Absolutely.
A great future in wrestling, not only in WWE, but in Central Illinois.
Yes.
Support indie wrestling. That's all I have to say.
There you go.
For Zombie and Priest, I've been the analyst, Robert Leach. Everybody say bye.
See ya.
See him. If I can remember what the buttons are.